Y'all want to see how excited I am to talk about this week's episode? I don't know why I expect better. I expect better, unfortunately. I'm not going to just trash on the show. I enjoy it. There are things I like. I like tuning in week to week, of course. If you're new here, green screen has been having issues all season. We finally got it to work, but my glasses now reflect off my screen, which the screen reads as green since it's blue light, and acts like the green screen effect. And so you can see like the word invasion, the N there in my glasses. So I'm gonna try not to glare up as much, but I might on accident, so sorry. Like, being completely serious, no joking. Like, season 1 was it was really good in my opinion. I know people didn't like it, but I rewatched the hell out of that season. I enjoyed it. It posed so many, like, the whole tone was so different. It was serious. It was shot so cinematically. There were so many questions, like, whoa, what is that? Why are they here? What is Wajo? And now it just feels like that was a whole different show ago. That was a different show. Like, now, I was thinking about it. I was like, wait, I'm watching the same show that still has to answer what Wajo is. Like, it feels like we're in some Hollywood generic, I don't know, nepotism show creation. I don't know if it's nepotism or not, but it's just so bad, I guess. It's just, opening statement, I guess, is it's sad, the differences that have happened to this show, and man, just the mystery. Like, if you guys, I'm assuming you've watched season 1, I don't know if you enjoyed it or not, but for me, even if you didn't enjoy it, I feel like you understood there was an element of mystery that was interesting. But not anymore. Let's get into the episode. First things first, there are no words from the mothership base, from the, I forget the name of it, I don't know, the military helicopter that they're all on, the, not Infinitas group, but our group, our team, with Travante, Mitsuki, Clark, Anisha, whatnot. Jamila's there. They have no word from the mothership base that they're going to. Then Nikhil talks to Langston, who says she's coming to save all of you. And I love Landon saying, gag him or I'm going to shoot him. He says it instantly, and it just felt so real. Landon's performance, Arya Shagashemi, or whatever, I'm sorry, I'm butchering it. But always love his performance. It's great. And then the helicopter thing's going down again. We're going down in vehicles next to this mothership, I guess. Again, it's not exactly a helicopter. I don't remember what it's called. I'm not familiar with the types of flying things in the air besides a plane and a helicopter, really. Sorry about that. But they arrive at the base, and there's a giant hole in the wall. And Nikhil gives his dumb one-liners again. Like, I don't even remember what he says. But the writers insist on giving him the dumbest little quippy little lines that, like, the audience, they're supposed to find them funny? No, it's just annoying, and I don't think it fits with his character growth as much anymore. But everyone in this base is dead, bloodied everywhere, and Infinitas, are you sure the aliens want peace? You know, are you sure about that? I guess it's not exactly peace, but like heaven and love and bringing people back. Like, they mentioned that this episode. I don't know if that's what they want. Dumbass name, by the way. Like, I've said this before, but Infinitas is such a bad name. It just sounds like somebody cooked that up in ChatGPT. But one guy, before the intro hits, has a freaking pick in the back of his head, like a pickaxe. Unfortunately, of course. And then the intro hits, and they're wondering, like, did they all go crazy? That wasn't my first thought, but this show always seems to do this, where they give you the answer before you're sure. Like, did they all go crazy? Like, that wasn't on my radar. Like, I thought maybe somebody else came in and killed them, maybe the aliens, but that's the first thing they say when we come back from the intro, which I guess is maybe a conclusion other people came to right away, but I did not, and Invasion kind of answers it right away because they like to do that. ruin the mystery. But anyways, when I saw the trailer having the Dead Zone mission, I figured, okay, this is some plot in the season that's maybe like 5 episodes or something, like you know, maybe it's like part of the plot, because normally the trailer's not even the full story. But the trailer, now that we're 7 episodes in, the trailer was the whole story. Normally a trailer leaves you wanting more, and it does not tell you even close to the full story. But the trailer did the opposite of normal trailers. It freaking milked every last decent piece of plot in the season and shoved it in a few minutes. Like, this whole season's plot, I feel, can be told in a few minutes. Because, I mean, they're just drawing this out, bro. Imagine they had this season as like 5 episodes. It might not have been super bad. But, I mean, in general, I do not want shows to have 5-episode seasons. But this show, it probably would have spared me some time and some pain if it was only a 5-episode season. So that would have been good. Again, I don't want to crap on this show, okay? It has a place in my heart, a good place in my heart. I love this show sometimes, but I'm gonna tell you how it is. There's things I liked and there's things I didn't like. An honest breakdown and leave room for some discussion with you guys. But then we go to Landon. Again, if you're new, I call him Landon because that was his name in another show, but it's Tucker, the officer guy, played by Arya Shekashemi. But Landon starts cussing, and I actually did like this part. There were a few parts I really did like in this episode that were like little dialogue scenes that just made me smile, and this is one of them. Where Landon starts cussing, and one of the officers like, surprised the mothership didn't hear us with you yelling that loud, and he says, shut the F up. He shut the F up to him. And there was something about the scene and the way it was shot that didn't feel like those lines were in the script. It very well may have been, but to me it felt improvised or something, because it felt like he yelled way louder than he should have for the the sound design and everything to pick that up. It feels like they should have done another take, but I feel like they might have played off of it a little bit, because either way, I mean, if they wrote that in the script, it was still funny. I enjoyed it. But Landon starts speaking Farsi. I'm guessing the actors could, so they decided, hey, let's speak Farsi with Anisha and Landon, then English again, then Farsi again. Like, I don't know what the point of that was. I don't really know. But a few people happened to come through the fields for Infinitas, the Infinitas group that is making their way to the mothership with our group. They come walking through the fields, and they happen to be coming through right when Infinitas's group is there. Infinitas just laughs a bunch, and they're buddies. Yay. And then there's the line, it's the first time I'm seeing it. As Infinitas, I mean, she says that as she looks at the mothership. I mean, she was literally been walking the whole time and just decided to like, yo, wait, there's a freaking mothership here, hold up, and then just looked at it. And I'm sorry, I laughed out loud at this. It was very cringe line delivery and everything. But they see a survivor with a mask, not them, the Infinitas, our group sees a survivor with a mask who starts to run. They say, we're not gonna hurt you, and then proceed to like stop him by slamming him against a box on accident. Kind of on accident, I'm guessing, but I don't know, it was funny. They somehow just get the mask off, and he somehow gets a knife and stabs himself through the throat. Cervante yells so unrealistically over and over. But Landon, I think, has a reasonable reaction of what the F was that, you know? I think his was reasonable. But, man, there's so many little moments like this in this episode that just felt so, like I was watching a soap opera. Like, they were just, like, ugh, I just, like, did not feel like I was watching something remotely real, which takes me out of the immersion, of course. And this is one of them, Travante's reaction was not an appropriate reaction to someone stabbing themselves in the throat. But here's where I made the note. The guy went crazy after his mask was taken off. His little mask. I mean, I had a theory then, I guess, but it was the sound, I guess. But then how does that make sense for that guy deciding to suddenly kill himself, you know, once the mask went off? Like, why hadn't he been doing it the whole time? Like, the sound didn't suddenly start up again. You know, the sound was gone, right? So that might be a plot hole or something I'm missing. And then Trevante comes back in, tells the group what happened. He says, we're not killing ourselves. And Jamila says, yet. There's so many lines I did not like in this episode. But Jamila again starts preaching about their friends dying for nothing. And she's always being so dramatic and preachy. I was cringing again. And then she says, you're not much older than me, to a guy who calls her a kid. And then I hate this insistence this season on everyone that addresses Jamila says kid. And every time she says, like, I'm not a kid. It's literally happened like 8 times this season. Like, we get it. And I don't know, that line seemed unnecessary. It was also dumb and unrealistic. I really seem like I'm crapping on the show right now. I'm being honest, okay? I'm here every week, hoping to enjoy it. I'm kind of in the dumps right now, I guess. Right after I finish the episode, it's just freaking 50 minutes. And I'm just sad. I'm sad to see where this show has gone, and I was just freaking bored, bro. I was bored. Like last week's episode was so bad. Like, worst of the series for sure. But I had way more of a fun time because it was so bad it was like funny. It wasn't so bad it was fun. It was still pretty boring, but it was so funny to me going through my discussion after that episode because it was so bad. But I mean, I guess I'm not having as fun this time, but I still enjoy going through episodes because I do enjoy television regardless. But Trevante then gives the dumbest speech, and I don't even remember what he said, but he was so short and like, we gotta fight, yeah. And they listen for some reason. And then at least Nikhil says he's gonna go build a bomb with the new shard weapons, basically getting rid of their weapons and explosives to make a new shard bomb, which he somehow makes in this entire episode. I don't know how, but it's better than slowing down the process. And then, I mean, there's just a bunch of talking scenes, and I was just like, Jesus, how do you make a show about freaking aliens this boring? Like, how many aliens have we even seen this season, you know? It's probably a budget reason, but, I mean, Superman and Lois Season 4 is a great example of budget not necessarily being an excuse. Yeah, it sucks, but Superman and Lois had such a small budget for their final season, and they still had incredible VFX. They had to cut off some of their cast, the supporting characters, but they still fit them in certain episodes to make their arcs make sense. The writing was still incredible. Like, that's a perfect example of budget not being an excuse, because that was like the best season, and it had such a small budget. I don't remember. I think it was like 10 million or something for a whole season. I'm not sure though. That might be too small. Anyways, we then go to a scene which I actually might be my favorite scene in the episode. I think it is. Where some guys, one of the soldiers is arguing with Nikhil when Nikhil's wondering where the casings went, and what the soldier's like, I thought you didn't want that, and Nikhil's like, don't think that was your first mistake. And he's like, where the frick is Mitsuki, and walks off screen. And it wasn't even a big scene. It wasn't even like main focus on the camera. It was kind of in the background. Yet it was great because it was pretty funny to me, and because it showed kind of the development between Nikhil and Mitsuki's relationship, that he actually was like, I need to go to someone smart. I trust her, and she's smart. You know, kind of their relationship, Nikhil and Mitsuki, is probably the only thing I care about really when it comes to these characters. Like, I do like Travante's arc of himself, but in terms of a relationship between Nikhil and Mitsuki, I mean, Anisha and Clark, Jamila, I don't care. I don't care. I don't really care. But I like Travante and Landon's arc as well, of anger toward each other, kind of gaining to this mutual trust in each other. I really like that, actually. It's written very well, and Landon's already like top 4 characters for me, like way better than Anisha and Clark for me, or Jamila. I really enjoy him and his development so far. But I love one extra here, one of the soldiers who's an extra, looking so happy when Travante says he's taking the role of leader. He's just smiling from ear to ear, and I love it. It's just so funny. But then we go to Indigo 7 from Infinitas Group, who is their communicator, is at the base right next to them. And again, why? It kind of just seems plot convenience. Every time we've seen Indigo 7, she's been reporting from that cave. Why would she suddenly be at the base right when they're coming as well? Maybe because they were expecting Infinitas to show up instead of the group. Maybe, but still kind of doesn't make sense to me. And also, what do you mean nobody checked that? It was a little shed right outside of the main building. What do you mean none of the soldiers checked it? They said no survivors on the premises. That's what they said. But, like, we're not checking the shed? It wasn't even a small shed. It's a pretty big shed, you know? But Mitsuki, we go to her. She can't stop replaying the soldiers dying. And there happens to be a shadow in the background of the new alien we've seen in the ship. Nikhil says to figure out how to track it down and stop it. From literally a video that has a shadow of it. He's being completely serious, and Mitsuki, I expected her to be like, what? That's crazy. Like, what do you mean? But she wasn't. I guess she's supposed to track it down and stop it just from one friggin' shadow in a video. But Nikhil, you can tell in this scene, has gotten softer with Mitsuki. It's very deliberate, and I like the acting change from Nikhil's actor. And then, like, side note, Maya and Rose are just gone still. like when they emphasize the reason that people are fighting, the reason our characters is fighting is for something more than themselves, for the people that they're connected to. And now we just have a bunch of people not connected to anyone ready to sacrifice themselves, except Anisha and Clark, I guess. Like, we really just switched up. I'm guessing budget reasons, they couldn't fit in Maya and Rose, but it just completely ruins the show for me that they didn't even acknowledge it. It's like they figured we'd just forget about them. I feel like that's kind of what they just figured, especially without any time they mention something from previous seasons. They've been showing flashbacks to the previous seasons. Like, I remember that, buddy. I get it. Then Anisha flexes that she learned chemistry and like neurology and all this stuff at Harvard. Like, no, you did not. Like, I'm sorry, but Anisha, there's no way she was smart enough for that, because she makes some dumb decisions throughout this show. Like, I guess there's different kinds of being smart, right? Maybe she's book smart, like physics and stuff. She's not invasion smart, we'll tell you that. But then we go to Nikhil and Anisha together, who nerd out over creating a virus in the mothership, which I did like this talk. But then Clark appears and Nikhil says, "What are you?" And like, "What are you?" is a crazy thing to ask instead of "Who are you?" And says, "We don't need you until Shakespeare shows up." And then there's like some drama with Clark feeling left out, with Anisha kind of engaging with Nikhil, like, what? Huh? I don't know. But again, I think Nikhil is pretty funny here. He can be funny, but I hate when they give him stupid lines. Like that was pushing it a little, but him just saying, well, what are you? Like, it felt, there's something genuine to it, where it didn't feel like he was acting, which some of the other lines that are not like that. Then we go to Mitsuki with some fake ass typing. She does this and it like changes the audio levels and stuff. Like, I don't know. But then we go to Jamila, who talks to Langston, who is like, ooh, like, this mothership is basically heaven. And then Jamila's like, I'm gonna burn your heaven to the ground. And then some horrible ADR from Jamila telling Travante about seeing the radio outside and figuring there's someone in there. Again, you see a freaking radio tower kind of thing and you assume. I mean, she kind of got the context clues because Langston was looking out the window, but still, like, you've been looking out this window a lot. Yeah, I'm freaking locked in a room. What else am I going to look at? I've been trying to find this mothership. But then she comes to the conclusion that the Indigo 7 must be nearby through that window, looking through a radio in her shed. Like, two complaints here. Two complaints. One, as you can tell from my description, it's just a bunch of talking with nothing happening. Like, not even just talking, because dialogue can be very engaging. Engaging is some like action sequences if you do it right, but I was just bored by this dialogue. And then I also don't like, as I just said, how Jamila comes to the conclusion that Indigo 7 must be here. Like, what? No, you're not making that conclusion that easily, okay? And especially that she comes to Travante basically saying it like it's fact before she knows, you know? But there is a really cool and unique shot of Mitsuki hearing that sound in the recording as we go through the set of people. The set looks great. The set designs have always looked great. I'll give it to that department. And I really love, I want to promote how good it is that Invasion is taking a risk like this. And Invasion, ever since they got bad reviews in season 1, has been playing it safe, generic, trying to give everyone what they want. Like, oh, you guys didn't like what we did unique in season 1. Okay, I guess we'll just do something more generic, and basically we already know people like with cliches and all this, and like the typical one-liner character. Like they've been playing it safe. But a shot like this is risky. It's not something generic. It's unique, and I liked it. But then we end this shot on a guy who starts rubbing something invisible off of him, and I was like, uh-oh, he's been infected. And then we go to Indigo 7, who just runs in the open with the radio, escapes, like 180 hits, landed in the head with the radio, and then blows herself up on a mine with the radio in her hands. She's very petty, blowing up that radio so they can't do it. And then Anisha like starts crying, I guess, because she can't call her kids. It wasn't even about the person. Like, oh my god, that person just blew herself up. She like, oh my god, like she just smacked Landon in the face. I guess that doesn't matter. She was like, no, the radio's gone. We can't contact our kids anymore. But the soldiers start going crazy, killing each other, while Nikhil's like on another level, just staring at some light. And then Mitsuki turns the sound off that she started playing, and they're all good. And then Mitsuki comes in, she says, I took the sound off, and some girl literally instantly, like before Mitsuki's even done talking, says, so you did this to us? Again, not how people talk. Like, she didn't even know she wasn't finished talking, and she was already assuming she did this. Like, it was like the writers already knew the conflict they wanted. Invasion does that a lot. So you did this to us before she's even done talking. Like, that's not how that happens. And then everyone, including Travante, is like, she is part alien, I guess. Like, it didn't affect her. To create some forced drama and conflict again. And then they start blaming Landon for going after the radio lady. I guess they blame him for going after her instead of being here. And then Infinitas somehow has a perfect look between the trees of the hole in the wall of the mothership base, I guess. And then Mitsuki encounters Travante in the hall while she starts to leave, after she had a conversation with Nikhil, basically being like, you don't ever defend me. And I hate that Nikhil kind of says, like, I don't know if you noticed, but that sound really affected me. And it's like, nobody talks like that, especially to make compelling dialogue. You gotta add some subtext, not just like explain exactly what happened to you emotionally. Like, you're not that self-aware, Nikhil. But the encounter in the hall is pretty good. I love the look of Travante looking at Mitsuki, kind of looking like he's trying to leave too. And then also seeing Mitsuki planning on leaving alone. And here's where I wrote the note. Mitsuki's gonna encounter an alien by the end of the episode. That's my theory. Which does come true. Does come true. And then Anisha and Clark have maybe the worst scene in this show. Anisha says, "Suddenly, I could see it with you looking so alive, talking about this route, this plan." And she blames Clark for not letting go of Infinitas, and Clark says it's her fault they're even here, and she says it is her fault, but it's because of not feeling comfortable talking to him. And then she says, "Suddenly, all the pieces fell into place from the conversation they literally had 2 minutes ago." Like what? And then since when was this a soap opera? Please, someone save me. Someone save me from this pain. I don't know. I'll keep going. I'm asking the writers to save me, I guess. Save me, please. Please. Like this scene was so bad. Like the whole episode wasn't great, but this was the worst scene. Worst scene. Hated it. Hated like every moment of it. But then he brings in Nikhil into the conversation saying, "I saw you in your element with Nikhil too." And he says, "This conversation ain't over." And then, oh my god, I I wrote a note here that says, "OMG, the trailer for this season was better than the actual season," which so far might be true. Oh my god, this season of television is not great. But Mitsuki starts going alone, which I do understand kind of why. But she's literally jeopardizing the entire mission. Like, if she loses the bomb, all those people that she's leaving are stuck, trapped, unable to get back to their families, unable to do anything. She's jeopardizing the whole mission, which sucks. And then we see a cool looking alien, kind of majestic like, remind me of like spotting a deer in the woods or something. And I mean, it looks cool. And yeah, I mean, I called it. They're gonna end with an alien. And I mean, they clearly are going on this path with her gaining sympathy for the aliens, so I wonder how that'll play out against the people that want to take down the aliens, you know? Like, Mitsuki, like, if Mitsuki joins the alien side, I'm so down for that. I'm so down for the aliens versus the humans, you know? Mitsuki on the alien team, and then, like, having to confront Nikhil on the other team and stuff, like, I actually do like that. Seems a bit interesting if they go there. But that's it today, guys. I had to cut around a lot today because it was just hard to form a lot of words, which means it'll suck for future me editing this. But it just, I kind of don't know what to say. Normally I'm better at this. I'm sorry, guys. But I don't know. There's something about the episode that just made me feel like I don't have much to say. But I'm trying to have something to say for the video. But anything I did say, you know, came to mind. So there's a few things that was like came to mind and decided to talk about. And I hope you guys enjoyed, even if you didn't like the episode. But yeah, we got 3 episodes left, 8, 9, 10. If this continues the trend of season two's 8, 9, 10 were actually pretty hype episodes. Not like hype like some other shows, but for invasion standards, 8, 9, 10 was good last season. So hopefully they continue the trend this time. But yeah, have a good rest of your day, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll discuss next week if you're interested. And you can check out this discussion of last week's episode, which is probably my most fun discussion of the season because it was so bad. Have a good rest of your day. Goodbye.